is a society at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience. And that will be a day not of the white man, not of the black man. That will be the day of man as man.
People said, we've had enough. We've had enough being second-class citizens. We've had enough being considered inferior to other races in this country, and we had enough. And along came a little man, and the spark given by a little frail lady, Rosa Parks, who refused to give up her seat on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, which was the law stating that you must give a black person, must give up their seat if a white person wanted it. Well, this lady didn't get up. And that sparked the Montgomery segregated bus boycott led by Dr. King. Now, how did it feel being involved with the civil rights movement? It was ecstatic for those fathers and mothers who said, I refuse to be colored any longer. I'm proud to be black.
Hello everyone, I'm Nubi Reto. Black History Month is a celebration of our culture, reflection of our past, and the ability to envision our future. Recently, I talked to members of the Bridgewater State community on your thoughts on the Civil Rights Movement to 2009, where we had the first black president of the United States.
And what they saw, what the rest of the country saw, was the brutality, because television, a lot of the things that were going on that were really negative, people saw on television for the first time. I remember going to some speeches and how people were standing up and saying these people should not be treated like this. I went to the March on Washington. I saw, as a 17-year-old, I saw black people, I saw white people. We want to see this country live up to its responsibilities, to its creed, to its code, to its motto, that all men are created equally, that people should be judged differently than just on the color of their skin, or how tall they are, or how big or slim they are. We want to see a different kind of country.
I think that the progress has been incremental. I think that in some situations we've seen some rapid progress. In other situations we've seen more slow progress. I think that when we think about the 60s, we think about a time where a lot of African Americans were kind of locked out of mainstream America. Now, 2009, you see the hip hop culture just exploding. And so African American culture is part of mainstream America, very much so that it's become $1 billion industry. And so in certain aspects we have gone way beyond what not necessarily what our capacities are, but in a very short period of time we kind of moved beyond a lot of barriers. But at the same time we're still stuck and still have challenges as it relates to education, as it relates to inequities in society, the achievement gap, both at primary and secondary and higher education. And so I believe that we still have a long ways to go.
I'm actually one of those people that I think that although we've made some progress, I think that we could make considerably more progress. I am very proud of the fact that Barack Obama is elected and I'm around to actually witness this. But I think that we as a people, we still have considerable more progress to make in this country.
So there were several parts of his dream. And so when people, yes, we have reached his dream. We've reached the pinnacle. We can do whatever we wanted to do, but we could always do, in some sense, we could always be prepared. It's kind of like the baseball player who never plays, and then all of a sudden he's called on in the midst of the game. When the other person gets hurt, he must be prepared and be ready. We must always be prepared. We must always be ready to assume that responsibility that we have that we should be placing on ourselves.
I think we've made progress in getting closer to completing the dream, but we're not there yet. I believe that education, contributing more money in kindergarten through the 12th grade, making public education, higher education accessible to everyone, not just those that can pay for it. Teaching, making opportunities available for those that choose not to go to college to be able to have a job, that they can purchase a home, support their families, have a voice in their community. I think that brings us closer to Martin Luther King's dream.
I feel blessed that we can go outside and just not witness racial persecution and tension that, many of the people in the civil rights movement in the 60s faced, that they made the sacrifices for us and our future kids, that we can go outside and not worry about choosing a different restaurant, choosing a different waiting room, that we can go out in peace and just camaraderie between everyone and everyone being together. So I feel blessed. I feel that I've been given the torch, and it's my duty and my responsibility to carry that torch with pride and honor.
I remember one of my professors told me, repeated it all the time throughout the course, for whom much is given, much is required. So that means I have to continue to grab that baton from Dr. Martin Luther King, from Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, of course, to continue and fight for equality, for justice, social justice. And people have to realize that although there's a lot of freedoms that we have, there's still disparities in education, disparities in crime and whatnot. And there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm hopefully continue to continue with that work and do well, so the future generations and future children are be able to benefit from it.
Honestly, I know that I'm very lucky to be living the life that I'm living right now, because I was watching, when Herman Boone came with Remember the Titans, I was remembering how it was back then with the whole, even the football team, they couldn't ever get together, they didn't want to work together and stuff like that. And now I have friends all different type of races, and we don't look at that whole, oh, you're black, you have to stay on that side, or you eat in that cafeteria and I eat on this side and stuff like that. And I feel as though back then, I don't know how I don't know if I'd be able to experience something like that, how I would react, because now I don't see that stuff like that. I have friends of, I have friends of every race. I don't look at that stuff like that. Yeah, everyone's oh, which means you're black. Well, clearly I know that, but other than that, it's just that's not something I see. I just see my friends as my friends, people I hang out with.
Seeing different African American CEOs and politicians, this wouldn't be possible without the civil rights movement. So it's giving me a lot of charge for my personal endeavors, for myself wanting to be a lawyer and a judge. Without the civil rights movement, that wouldn't even be possible. So who knows where I'd be.
The torch has been passed to you. All of our youth, you are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. And you must become educated so that your light can continue to shine for generations and generations and generations to come. But I leave you, our children, our young adults, with this thought. You are the repairs of the breach. But yet, our nation holds you responsible for becoming engineers of bridges built strong enough for all people to cross across into the land of respect and decency.